Hello everyone, it's Rain. That's right, you saw the Mojang logo. That means we are in Minecraft. My friend Katie was not only generous enough to donate a copy of Minecraft to me, but she also said that she has a vanilla SMP server that I can try to play on. And I was like, absolutely, I'd be totally willing. As somebody who has spent a very long time playing Vox Libre on this channel and has become a little bit known for playing it, I decided, well, hey, it's finally time to play the real deal. So here we are in the world, and I am struggling for my life to escape spawn right now. The very first thing I wanted to mention was like, holy smokes, when you fall and that acrobatic skill goes up a level, it adds a level of surprise that I just was not anticipating. Especially being lost, especially in the soaking rain, especially just absolutely just struggling to even figure out like what is even going on right now. It was just one thing too many. But as you can see, I finally managed to make my way out of spawn and get into my boat. And here we go. The adventure finally is beginning. And one of the things I wanted to look for, like right off the bat, was some sort of like cherry grove forest. Cherry is my favorite in Vox Libre so far. Pink is my favorite color. So I am a woman on a mission right now. After I get some basic resources going, as soon as I can find any kind of cherry grove forest, you absolutely better believe that I'll be digging into that area. So that is what is going to be the goal. In fact, why don't we just go over the general goals of what we are going to be doing for today's episode. So all I really would like to do is to try to find a suitable location to get myself established, and to get some basic resources going. Just like a decent smelting system maybe, or just like a little house or like a little farm. I'm not gonna push myself too hard. I've had a very stressful week recently. I'm sure many of you can totally relate to that. So what I'm looking for is the Zen garden building experience. I want to build somewhere that not only looks nice, but gives me an opportunity to try to build something that also hopefully looks nice. We'll see. You know what's really funny is, for those who are not very familiar with my content, I'm also an artist too, which you can go ahead and check out my art gallery in my Ko-Fi page, linked in the description below. But even like with my own art, I don't even think my own art comes out very good. But everybody's like, oh yeah, it looks good. It's good. It's decent. And I'm just like, I don't know if I make things that look good. But anyways, I'm hoping my base isn't going to suffer from the same problems that I have with my artwork. One of the reasons I decided to stop through this like little valley area is because I saw these purple trees, and while I was not inherently like interested in the purple trees, I saw the cherry trees that I was very much interested in, and I was like, ooh, okay, all right, this might have some potential for a base on it. Now, I wasn't paying attention, and apparently there's like a pillager tower nearby, but oh my goodness, that pillager took me by complete surprise. I was not at all expecting to get into a fight with him right off the rip here. Thankfully, when you spawn in, you do get some like basic tools, some food. I had a boat with me, obviously, so I was like, okay, all right, we'll just find a way to get away from him. We'll outrun him in the boat, and everything will be just all hunky-dory. No worries there. And we'll swing over, and we'll find a place here to build, because this place looks kind of cool. Like, it's not the best. It's a little hilly, and it's got way too many trees compacted into one spot. But I figured, all right, we'll head up onto shore for a second. We'll check it out. Maybe we could build like a cool little like river house or something like that. And again, taken by complete surprise, there was a skeleton hiding under this tree. I wasn't prepared for it. Now, I don't know what I could have done differently here. Probably attack instead of eat, but guess what? I absolutely got wrecked by that skeleton and ended up going all the way back to spawn. And I took a look around real quick and I was like, you know what? Do I really want to go all the way back out there completely unprepared? I said no, and I decided, screw it. We're going to do it the real way. We're going to do it the Minecraft way. No tools, no assist, no extra start, nothing. We're just going to start with our bare fist and punch a tree, and we're going to get it started properly. So I decided to do that. Now we're here. Let's move forward. Now, these aren't as good as the tools that we were lucky enough to get spawned in with, but, you know, hey, beggars can't be choosers at this point, and especially after that really embarrassing defeat by the archer skeleton earlier, you know, I'll just take what I could get from here. I figured, well, hey, this isn't really somewhere that I'm too interested in setting down right now, right off the bat. So we'll collect some resources along the way. We'll make sure that we get enough stuff to get a nice, soft, comfy bed. And we'll just see if we can find a similar place to set ground. I was thinking about moving into this cave, but like, I'm just gonna be like honest, like I heard some mobs down there and it like kind of reminded me of like the sounds I would hear when I first played Minecraft like a really long time ago. And I was like, yeah, let's not go into the spooky, creepy cave. I moved on and I found this secondary cave that had some coal in it. And I was like, oh, thank goodness, finally I can make some torches, which is something I sorely needed at this point. And finally, with some light, I figured, you know what? We'll just hide out. We'll make a little hidey hole for the night. I'll dig up some coal, and we'll get some of our basic tools going. And that's exactly what I did. Just spent the evening just kind of gathering what I need to move forward. And I'm actually really glad that I spent time doing this because I was not at all familiar with the mechanics of Minecraft, as I mentioned. I've played a lot of Vox Libre, which is basically the open source version of the game. And it's different. It's got different mechanics, different mining mechanics, different physics when you move. So just kind of hanging out here gave me a little bit more of an opportunity to just kind of familiarize myself on the subtle differences between the two games because they're not the same. The mining mechanics, as I mentioned, are slightly different. And you'll notice, too, sometimes when I'm mining, I move away too quickly just because the mining speed is just slightly different, too. Like, there's very subtle differences between the two games. And yeah, it took me a little time to wrap my head around that a bit. But here we go. Finally, we have got our stone tools on our way back. And I could not be happier. Now, I decided to grab like a shovel and a sword. I didn't really end up using the sword too much. I still don't really see the value of making a sword because it does less damage. If somebody wants to leave a comment below, because again, I'm new to Minecraft. So go ahead. It's okay to leave these very simple basic advice comments down below. But what is the advantage of a sword over an axe? Because the axe is clearly doing way more damage. And you'll see that I end up preferring the axe just because I can one-shot a lot of the mobs that I run into. And for me, that's the biggest benefit. I just want them out of my way. I'm also not too familiar with like what to do with like copper as well. I know you could like make lightning rods with it and stuff like that. I don't think you could use it to make any tools. As far as I'm aware, it's something that I'll look into, but again, not really familiar with like the copper mechanics. I pretty much ignored it when I played Vox Libre anyways, so I just wasn't really interested in messing around with copper too much, I guess. Especially when you have iron, like why would you want to mess around with copper? I poked my head out, and I was like, "Oh, good, it's daylight." So it's finally time to leave. I ended up picking up all my stuff here, and I was just like, "Screw it." I really don't want to set down here. This is not what I was looking for. It's like kind of a hilly nightmare. I don't even know what this biome is supposed to be. And of course, immediately afterwards, like we go to this like mesa biome. I think it's a mesa biome. Please correct me if I misname any of these biomes. But I was like, all right, well, there's a lot of sticks here, so I'll grab what I can. We'll collect some more resources for beds and food along the way. Which I gotta be honest with you, killing the sheep in this game is super satisfying. It definitely has a little bit more of an impact. And I finally came across my first set of mobs. And wow, they were a lot easier to deal with in Vox Libre. Well, they call them stalkers in Vox Libre, but the stalkers in Vox Libre will just basically dive bomb on top of you. They won't like slow down or anything. They pretty much just V-line straight for you and blow up instantaneously. The timer on them is a lot shorter too, so that felt much easier to deal with. But yeah, as you can see, I'm finally getting used to like kind of like the fighting mechanics in Minecraft, and it definitely feels very satisfying to attack and hit, especially when you get that critical damage. This is like a really cool area. This is not the area I said that I wanted to build in, but like kind of like the juxtaposition between the mesa biome, this like kind of grassy tundra-y area, and this like weird granite blackstone area. It just all felt like really cool. And I'm really glad that I happened upon this area because there was just an absolute bunch of iron just sticking out from the surface, which is something, again, I really needed, especially after that embarrassing defeat at spawn. So collecting any advantage I can along the way is going to be super important, especially later on, because I have no idea what I'm doing. Night begins to fall again, and I decide to just kind of like just dig into the side of this like little mountain here. And this was like a little spooky, I gotta say, like with the black stone and like the darkness and stuff like that. And the more time I spent in this biome, the more I realized I really don't want to be here. It's gray, it's depressing, it's dark. I have enough of that in my life. I don't need any more. I don't need anything else to drag me down in my life, not for a single second. So, you know, I said, screw it. We'll pack up once more. We'll look around along the way to make sure that we didn't miss any iron. And we'll just see if we can find the perfect place for us to build a home. And as I was like moving through and digging through a bunch of this iron, I was a little shocked to see that there was some emeralds that appeared on the surface. So I decided, all right, well, if there's going to be a bunch of like cool resources that require a iron pickaxe, this might be a good opportunity to not only craft said iron pickaxe, but to also probably get some iron armor going a little bit too. So while the rest of that iron was smelting, I decided, hey, we'll go ahead, we'll collect a little bit more of those emeralds. We'll craft that iron plate before we go, and then we'll head off one more time. As I made my way down the side of this valley, I was kind of a little concerned that I wasn't going to come across the cherry biome. I was talking to the admin who invited me, Katie, and she was like, oh yeah, the biomes here happen to be pretty huge. So I was like, oh no. And then when I found this village, I was like, well, you know, what if I just like maybe considered about like hanging out here? But the more I hung out in this village, the more the layout of the village just felt like super weird. I couldn't really find a lot of resources. Like it didn't really have a lot of chests. I couldn't find like a blacksmith thing. And I really needed more iron super badly. So, you know, I'm the kind of girl when push comes to shove, I shove back. And I decided, well, hey, I need the iron a little bit more than these villagers need a protector. So, sorry, sacrifices needed to be made. I promise, none of it will go to waste. I also saw that they had like a bunch of like wheat blocks just stacked up here. So I figured I'll take that too. It's not like they're gonna need it. Hopefully. I need it more than them. I'm starving right now, okay? Alright, I died and lost all of my supplies. They have an entire village and farm, like farms established already, okay? I need it more than them. So I took all of it. I finally got another boat going, and I was like, okay, all right, let's go down the river, and hopefully we'll find the biome that I really want. And wouldn't you know it, after a couple of minutes of heading down the river, here it is. And not only that, but there was a ruined nether portal right outside. So it was like, okay, all right, this is a really cool spot. We're at minimum, what we're going to do is we're going to check it out. We're going to see what's going on here. And maybe this is the right spot to do. We'll see though. We'll see. Because it's on the side of a hill, and that can be super annoying. And when I did my Vox Libre playthrough, that's where I spawned into, was on the side of a island on a hill. And it was really, really hard for me to set up a base. So I was like, okay, proceed with caution. Don't get too excited and just slap down a base. So I was like, okay, we'll cut these trees down. I'll get a feel for an area. And as I started cutting the trees down, I started to notice the environment around me. And what I really liked was that little bull dip that you see in the left side of the screen. And I was like, oh, well, maybe we can do something with it. But let's get all of these trees cut down first, at least. And kind of like marinate on the idea a little bit. And that's exactly what I did here. The more I sat here, the more I cleared out, the more I enjoyed the cherry blossom rain with no mobs around this time. The more I was like, yeah, I really like this. I like the vibe of this place. The nether portal outside is already a cool natural feature. It has a little cave off to the side that I can quarry out. It has that little dip down in the bottom where I can probably put like a cool little farm or something. So I was like, yeah. All right. This is looking more and more like home as each second passes by. So I was like, all right, we'll get the bed down. We'll get the furnace going. And let's try to get a little bit of stone going. I am not a huge fan of the cobblestone and the way the cobblestone looks in Minecraft. So I was like, if we're going to do anything, if we're going to go with stone in any, it definitely has to be stone bricks. So that's why we're going to end up quarrying out probably a good chunk of this. And that made picking this location even better, because I've got a ton of stone right off to the side of me. So another day emerges, and I wake up and I decide, all right, today's the day. We are going to just power through and get some serious mining done. If this is really where we want to stay, we need at least a 3x3 to survive properly. So, if nothing else, a 3x3 will give me an opportunity to store all of my material. I can move my base inside. I can move my bed inside. I can protect my chest. I believe the chests are protected on the server anyways, but you know, it's nice to have my chest inside so I can manage my inventory without getting attacked in the middle of the night. So for so many reasons, that's probably a good idea. And I started to get the stone cooking and just started getting some like basic stuff cleared out. There's a bunch of bamboo in the area, and I figured, well, this is a good chance to collect some bamboo and some grass seeds while I wait for the stone to start forming. And with all of the stone bricks ready, we can finally put down the outline for the 3x3. And I gotta say, I always love myself a classic 3x3. Three by threes are important, especially in Vox Libre. If anybody ends up ever trying Vox Libre, which I highly encourage, because again, it's a very different game, but it's similar enough. The three by three you should have done by the afternoon, not by nighttime. Like, there's no way you would survive a couple of nights in Vox Libre. You won't survive the first night if you don't have a 3x3 done by the afternoon. So I'm pretty good at these, but it was nice to be able to take my time and kind of pace this out a little bit and like kind of think about how I wanted to like have it look. I didn't need to like rush and just throw up a like wooden or dirt 3x3 instantaneously. I could go, oh yeah, I have time to make stone bricks, and what do I want to do with the corners and stuff like that. And I was like, okay, well, we have a ton of this cherry around. What if we try cherry logs on the corner? I've seen people do logs as an accent piece before on the corner of their buildings, and I was like, okay, maybe that'll look good. I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. After I set up like the door, and I was like, yeah, let's go ahead, let's go full commit on the cherry log idea. I ended up not really liking it too much, and you're gonna see why in just a second. So I add them to the corners like this, and it looks all well and good. I'm like, yeah, that's right, that looks good. It's got a cherry center, and then I catch a glimpse of the corner, and I'm like, oh no, that looks a little weird. Not really realizing that it looks a little bit more natural with the trees, but when you put it up against at least these gray stone bricks, I don't know. I'm just not a huge fan of the way they look. And I know that was like a really long tirade about the particulars of cherry logs, but I want my base to look good. Like, I mean, I'm an artist, right? How would you feel if, like, you know, you're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go check out this artist Minecraft base, and it looks like a square block. An ugly square block. So, you know, I do care about the aesthetics of this. So if anybody has any base building tips or anything that makes really good use of cherry, let me know. I am definitely interested in learning more about better base building in Minecraft. So as you can see, we eventually start working our way down to that little bowl area, and I cut out this center just to kind of get an idea of how I want to like set the whole area up. Because we're on the side of a hill here, and it's not going to be an easy prospect for anybody to get up and down the side of the hill. And it's especially not going to be easy to get down to that little dip area to do farming maintenance and stuff like that. And with just like with the natural shape of this area, I was like, okay, you know what would be a really cool thing? We'll excavate out a bunch of this, and we'll do a system of tunnels and stairs around the entire area. And that will not only like lend to like kind of a natural feel, but it plays well with the environment, and it looks cool. It looks more like something somebody would build on the side of a river like this, especially with the way the hills are formed, and it looks natural. It feels like something that you might happen upon. And that's like kind of a big goal for the way this base is going to set up. Because yes, fortresses are cool, big, imposing, awesome mega bases are awesome, but I just want something that looks really nice at the end of the day. At the end of the day, it doesn't need to be like some super epic mega 1 million people are gonna watch this video because that's like the best Minecraft base ever. No, I don't need any of that. We're setting the bar much lower than that. I'm just going to aim for something decent that has all of the things that I think that look the coolest present in the base. And that'll be good enough for me. And as you can see, I don't know if you can tell, but we've spent quite a bit of time excavating out this whole little bowl area. And I didn't want to change the shape of it too much. But unfortunately, I did have to make some pretty big modifications to the natural shape of that area in order to accommodate the 5-block radius that the water will go for the farm. And I decided to finally build back the shape of the tunnel again. Now, I know there was dirt over already on the top of it, but I figured it'd just be easier if I just kind of took it all out and then just slowly added it back in, just to make sure that I maintained the correct, the correct amount of space. It's easier to move a couple of dirt blocks than it is to go, oh, this looks good on the bottom, but now I gotta clear out the whole top and all. I just figured it'd be easier to do it this way. It's a lot more fun for me too. Digging and excavating and stuff like that is a lot of fun for me. And building is like one of the best parts of any of these kind of games. Like, I've mentioned that I used to play Minecraft a long time ago. Minecraft was a building block game for me. That's the primary reason why I played Minecraft. It was basically Legos on the computer. That's how I looked at it. The fact that you could do all of this like really advanced stuff, and you could go to the Nether and there's dragons and like all this like magical enchantment stuff, like that's awesome. And like I was aware of it. I knew that the game had evolved, right? It's not like I've had like my head in the sand. It's not like I just woke up out of like a 30-year coma and just found out Minecraft like changed all of this stuff, right? But again, I wasn't really paying attention to it, and the only reason I'm paying attention to it now is because I spent a year playing an open source version of this game on my channel, and I'm like, well, you know what? It would be really nice if I was somewhat more familiar with Minecraft, because so many people compare it to Minecraft. So I figured it's time. And finally, with like the landscaping almost done, I was putting like some final thought on how I wanted this to go, and I figured, okay, a kind of a three-way path for stairs seems to make the most sense. So that's what I ended up doing, and I was like, well, we'll go with the stone brick steps because it's one, it's easy to build early on, and two, I think it like looks good. It fits like the nature aspect of like what we're trying to build here. And yeah, like even just putting in this first set, I was like, whoa, okay, all right, we're on to something here. This looks really good. And it seems to flow naturally, right? And like to the eye, you know pretty much immediately like which you don't feel like you're gonna fall off, right? Like the stairs aren't tricking you to go down one path. Like at the surface level, you can kind of eyeball it and know, oh, okay, those two go off to the side. They must go somewhere else. This first one dipping down leads me down somewhere different. So visually, it looks good. And logistically, it makes sense to the eye. So I was really happy with it. And I was like, oh my gosh, okay, what else can we add? What else can we add to kind of spruce this whole thing up a little bit? And yeah, I'm actually pretty happy that I went with this design too, because, you know, the farms for me always feel like they're kind of a little out of place, but this kind of like separates it out into its own thing. And it's almost one of those mentalities, out of sight, out of mind. I finally decided as a final touch, you know, before I put a wrap on this initial little starter project that I got myself into, I figured we'll do the paths. The paths, they're simple, they're easy to put in. They serve really no purpose, but it just adds to that like natural look that I'm kind of going for. That well worn in, but like kind of fits in alongside of nature look that I'm going for. And I wish I had better ways to articulate this, but just remember, I'm an artist. I'm good at drawing pretty things, not saying pretty things. You'll have to find a poet for that. And with those last little touches, I can finally take my armor off and finally have a rest. This was wonderful. And if anybody is excited to join me on this server, I will leave a link down in the description below. But before I leave, I just want to say a special thank you to all of my supporters who have been extremely generous recently. If you are interested in supporting this content, I'll leave links down in the description below to my Ko-Fi and my Throne account. Support starts as little as $1 per month, and every dollar, everything you purchase on my Throne account helps this channel tremendously. So thank you. And for everyone else, thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope everyone out there has a wonderful day.